Hi guys, here are the 3 biggest dog training mistakes we see from working with thousands and thousands of people. Coddling your dog when you should be guiding them. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you're trying to walk your dog into a new property or a new store and your dog starts freaking out at the door. What a lot of people do is they crouch down and they go, oh, it's okay, you're okay, and they start petting the dog. When realistically you should say, hey, snap out of it, let's keep walking. That would be number 1. So biggest mistake, number 1, coddling when you actually should be doing the exact opposite, which is guiding. So one thing we see all the time is someone will bring their dog into our center and the dog will be running around sniff, sniff, sniff. And then the owner will do all sorts of funny things. They're like, hey, hello, come here. And they're just begging, begging, begging. They're trying to distract the dog with a treat. I understand why people do that. That's what they naturally do and they do it all the time. But you really should not beg over and over and the dog will quickly learn to tune you out. So what you should do is you could ask for your dog's attention once or twice and then you need to get on your dog's case with a little bit of pressure, a little bit of negative pressure. Super important. We often see people come in with their dogs for training and then we tell them to just get their dogs to sit. They're extremely rigid. The way they speak to their dog is very boring and the dog would literally rather sniff the grass than pay attention to their owner. That's a big problem. So what they should be doing is they should have the food or the treat or whatever they're using move quick, 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 so the dog is engaged. If the dog is zoning out, they should have very fast, fast movements instead of very slow, boring movements that make the dog really want to tune out. Okay, so here are the solutions for the 3 things I went over. So if your dog is being coddled, you need to guide them. How do you properly guide them? That's a question people always ask us. Anytime you see your dog act nervous or freak out, it is your job to tell your dog, hey, this is actually not scary. You must follow me. And when your dog follows you, they start realizing that actually wasn't bad. I just need to simply follow my owner who's so sure about what they're doing. And then I start realizing nothing actually even happens to me. So how do you guide your dog properly? You use your leash. If your dog starts freaking out, hitting the brakes, you would just do a tiny little tap forward to say, hey, let's move. And once your dog gets through their trigger or their fear, you give them a treat. That's what you should be doing, so you're properly guiding. Of course, this depends on the amount of pressure you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a low amount of pressure and you know your dog is capable of getting through this, you must stop yourself from coddling them and you must guide them forward. Cool. It's all really done with a leash. It's very hard to do without a leash. You do not want to beg your dog to pay attention to you with a treat. You need to guide them first. Number 2, if you're constantly begging, begging, begging for your dog's attention, I'll tell you guys what I would do. Let's say like this, for example. No. This dog is just not allowed to move right now, so I'm just going to put her back on the... Judy! No, sit. Judy, sit. Anyways, accountability. So for accountability, if your dog were to, let's say I were to go do a training session with my dog, and if I were to just enter a new property, I would immediately tell my dog to do something instead of what everyone else does, which is wander around, sniff and explore the entire area and desensitize themselves whatever people think the dog is doing. I would come right in, sit, pay attention, then I would get right to doing stuff. So I wouldn't beg for my dog to pay attention. I would sit, pressure on the leash. If the dog is not listening, I would have some rules and accountability on what's expected. Number 3, I know it's like very general, be fun. What does that exactly mean? Whenever you do a training session with your dog, you should be extremely excitable. You should be very fun. Your dog should see this as the most fun part of the day. Let's say your dog likes to go play with dogs. They like to go play fetch. They like to do whatever they want to do. You can train them to do these things. So train, listen, throw a ball. You have a tug toy, move it quick, 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 then have them play tug. Or you have a few treats. You need to display your treat, have them miss it a few times to build a bit of frustration. You just can't just stop, sit, good, treat. It's always predictable. It's always the same thing. It's always boring. Everything's very stagnant. It needs to be quick. It needs to be unpredictable. It always needs to be new. It needs to be mental and physical, both mentally and physically stimulating.